Well, in the last video, I'd gotten the shape of this figured out. Looks pretty much like what I did with the clay model. These kind of came together at the same time once I figured out I was going to use these quarter panels. But anyway, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to finish rolling this edge. I've got it rolled over to a 90-degree edge, and I'm going to take a piece of this wire right here. And to add some strength to this forward edge, I'm just rolling the forward edge over the wire like this and closing it off. I've made a couple tools to do this with. Seem to work so far. Let's get it done. Figure out how I'm going to get this thing laid over here to work on it. I like the fact that I have a gap in this middle of this table. I mean, it was just leftover plywood, but this gap works out real nice to work on things on the edge where you don't normally have an edge. Drag a couple tools around here and show you what I've made to do this with. I've watched a few YouTube videos. I'm not a metal shaper by any means. I don't know anything hardly at all about bodywork, but I made these two tools based on some YouTube videos that I've watched, and they are going to get me the shape I need. Well, they've already worked on the first quarter panel, so they'll work on this. One of the things I need is this edge right here, so I can work this further over than a 90 so that the wire can just lay into the groove then. Once I get that edge worked over to about a 45, which is about all the further I can work it with this tool, then I can shape this wire, get this wire shaped so it fits right down in that groove and follows it all the way along, and hold it in place with this right here, and then tap the edge the rest of the way over to get that wire held in there part way, and you'll see how that all works out. It worked out pretty good on the first one, so let's show you how it works on this one. I have to clamp this flange down to the bench here, so I have room to swing a hammer over the top of it. Right here you can probably see on the camera that I'm getting about to the limit of what this tool will do. Took a little bit of work, but I've got the wire bent pretty well straight with the curve. And I've done a couple things that I don't normally do to keep it from moving around so much, so hopefully I can keep it in the camera and not walk it across the table. It will fight me a bit while I try to get the wire held in at the very beginning here. Vice grips don't like to stay clamped, being hammered on and vibrating. I'm also working from the back side over here. Can't see it as well as I should, so the camera can get a better view. It looks like the wire's staying down in the bottom of the bend pretty well. Now I will attempt to get it to actually close around the wire. You can kind of see the shape of the wire right there, so it is biting in. Now I just have to do that all the way up around this curve. It's getting there. Needs to be spot welded. See if we can get in here where the camera can actually see what I'm doing. While this guy figures out how to use a camera, I'm going to make a video on this crimping tool that I made. you'll be able to find that video under my tools and equipment playlist. You can see it's already crimped a little bit right there. See if I can get a spot here where I can just show you what it does. Just kind of jumped ahead right there and it crimps it right down. See if we can clean that up a little bit by getting over here. And if I get this thing adjusted just right, it won't quite lock every time I squeeze it. There we go. Make sure I keep the bottom of it flat. It's slow, but it leaves a real nice edge. This one needs quite a bit of pressing down, so I'm taking my time and doing a little bit at a time, just to give it a chance to get where it needs to go without stretching the metal too much. Oh, it's seated all the way now. Well, that took a while to do, but it's got a nice round, smooth edge on it. Now all I've got to do is spot weld it together so it, well, you know, stays together. I also have a video on this spot welder coming out soon. You'll also be able to find that one in my tools and equipment playlist. Well, our next step is going to be to cut the angle of this so it runs at the direction it should run, so it matches up to my plan for this part of the car, and add this piece of sheet metal inside of here so that it will. One thing I haven't talked about yet is extending this piece of sheet metal so it goes in behind where the air intake duct is at, so you won't be looking at this gap when you look at it from the outside. This just a small piece of sheet metal that'll be added to that. Once we get this rolled over, that'll help make it look a little bit better, but we'll look at that later. So I need to get a kind of a rough calculation on where this angle is going to run and just put a mark on it. If I get the cap off the pen. Something like that. And then to do the other side, I'll just take measurements off of this and measure out the other side, get the other side exactly like this. One, two, three, four, five. Okay, good. I say hundreds, if not thousands of hours are spent doing this. And just looking down the line of the car to see if that looks right or not. What I've decided to do is going to be something more like this, with a lot longer piece on the door to make that curve more gentle. It just looks like a better line overall to me. But that's for future me to worry about. Right now I'm just going to keep concentrating on this part. Well, let's take a little overview of it here. That's where we're at so far. Not looking too bad for an amateur working on it. Oh, got a post in the way. Let's look at the back side of it, see how that back side looks. Angles are coming out pretty good. Curve is what I'm looking for. I don't think it looks too bad for somebody who's never done any body work before like this. I think the hardest part for me is going to be fine-tuning all the small wrinkles and dents out of it. So I think it's time for me to get back to work. I'll see you in the next video. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. See if I can throw something out there that actually sounds like it might be a full sentence. Keep that from falling down, maybe. So if you ever feel like giving up, just know there's people out there like me who are making mistakes like this. I remarked it where I was supposed to mark it and cut it at, but I cut it over here. This is what happens when you can read a ruler, but you don't know the front of the car from the back of the car. Making more work for myself. No excuse. You see, what happened was I had the quarter panel laying upside down on the table, which didn't help matters, but you know, I still should have known the front of the car from the back of the car. Making more work for myself. And you can believe I wasn't laughing when I first cut that off and realized I'd cut it off wrong. That profanity will never see video. Anyway, hope your Monday's going better than mine.